I woke up in a trailer. Where I was or how long I had been sleeping, I had no idea. Was I napping? Was I in a coma? Who knew? But I turned to my best friend as an American, the TV. I didn't seem to recognize my surroundings as I went searching for what I did not know. Until I found it, the frying pan. Somehow I instinctively knew that I would need a weapon and that the frying pan would come in handy. After I got caught up on my favorite TV show, I decided to head out into the world. I woke up merely an unemployed gym rat, but my new profession? Killing zombies. Or, can you really kill them if they're already dead? Murdering zombies? Re-deadening. Re-deadening the zombies. Somehow I was not surprised to see them there. All I knew is that I didn't want them there anymore, so I got rid of them. Violently with the frying pan and my feet. Somehow I knew that standing on the zombies would prevent them from doing anything. They would just lay there like a shark on its back. I took them on 2, even 3 at a time, shoving them, punching them, kicking them, smashing them with the frying pan. It wasn't long before I resorted to stealing from the dead. This guy had a great pair of military boots that I wanted, so I took them. Who was going to stop me? The dead guy that I just re-deadened? I returned to my good friend the TV and read a book while I was at it, because I knew I would need to learn, and learn fast. For knowledge is power, and power is my name, Max Power. This is my story. My looting of the zombies was starting to make me look like a looter, but it was all in the name of protecting myself. Apparently, my neighbors were jealous of my attempts to better myself, so I had to dispatch them, or re-deaden them. This guy was tougher than usual. After murdering dozens of my neighbors, I finally found what I was searching for. A watch. I could finally tell time. Ah, an unwelcome guest. Get out of here. My newfound watch told me that it was very late and I was very tired, so I took a risk and went to sleep. Would I wake up? This time I did, but next time, who knows? I decided to risk more TV and reading time. The knowledge would pay off later if I could survive. My skills were progressing nicely. But the undead are relentless and remorseless and all the R words, and I had to kill them to get rid of them. Another R word. Ooh, an extra pair of booties. Mass murder is hungry work. After hopping from trailer to trailer, I decided that the front office building would make a good place to make my stand. So I quickly dispatched the HOA and moved in. The double front door would make a good defense. And the TV would be my new best friend. I quickly closed all the curtains so zombies couldn't see me. I quickly secured the perimeter and hid the bodies of the dead. Just in time for my favorite TV show. Finally, some good luck. The radio already had the emergency broadcast system programmed. I knew I was going to need more supplies, so I headed back out to fight more undead and loot their stuff. I searched everywhere, even the burned down house, till I finally found what I desperately needed: cigarettes. I broke yet another frying pan on another undead's face, so I had to go and grab another. It was getting late, so I decided to head home to rest my weary head. But the undead had other plans. We engaged in mortal combat. I was hungry, tired, panicked, wet, and a nervous wreck. But somehow, I still overcame. I decided to check the storage lockers that I found to my south. and used a pickaxe I found along the way to try to open them. I killed a few undead along the way and found some supplies that would set me up for success later, including all the generators I could ever want. Over the next few days, I went back and forth to the storage lot many times and cleared it out the best I could. I never found what I was truly looking for, a sledgehammer. But I did find a park ranger hiding in a room. And he was nice enough to give me a digital watch to replace my old-fashioned watch. I now knew what day it was and the temperature. We were making... This went on for several days until... I settled in for a long day in the house. I did some cleaning. I did some cooking. And, of course, I did some reading. Then I disassembled all the furniture in my house and turned it all into spears. And it's a good thing I did, too, because somehow the chopper had brought the dead to me, even though the chopper could not see me. They had surrounded my base. I broke many spears clearing them out. But clear them out I did, relentlessly, without remorse. I re-deadened the dead. And took their loot. There were some close calls when my spears broke at bad times. But I was successful. I fought off the waves. And survived. There were so many of them that I ran out of spears. And had to resort to my pickaxe. But pickaxe them I did. To death. Or re-death. Now that that craziness was behind me, I found a car that I liked and claimed it. By putting my stuff in the trunk. Unfortunately, the car I wanted didn't have the keys. So I learned to hotwire it by breaking down watches. Don't overthink it. From there, it was a simple matter of stealing some gas from a nearby fossil oil truck. And then hotwiring it. Maybe... hotwiring it? This time for sure. Okay, but this time, right? Yes, finally. I started it up and headed back to my base. I spent a day or two loading all of my worldly possessions into my van, and then I set up a fire trap to try to clear out some zombies, but it did not go as planned. There just wasn't enough zombies in the area for them to catch fire. Womp womp. Now that all my possessions were loaded up, I decided it was time to move, and I decided that the factory nearby would make a great place for a permanent base. Unfortunately, I did not realize there would be just so many undead around. It took me a long time to clear out. Maybe I should have cleared it from my base first before I moved. Hey there, buddy. Working hard or hardly working? Oh, neither. I've heard of banging your head against your wall at work, but this is ridiculous. They say that banging your head against the wall burns 150 calories per hour. I wonder how much calories it burns to bang someone else's head against the wall. I had just decided that the smaller storage area of the factory would work better for my purposes than the large factory when I saw it. A duffel bag. I had to have it. So I took it. Things were going my way, slowly but surely. It took me multiple days to clear out around the factory and my new base, and I had to risk sleeping in my car. Fortunately, it worked out, and I woke up. After finally clearing out the factory, I started making it my own. First, I put up some fences so that I wouldn't fall off the roof. And of course, I added some escape routes for emergency getaways, just in case. This was also a great way to level up my carpentry. I decided the upper level of the factory would make a fantastic area for my kitchen, living room, etc. And if I could ever find a sledgehammer, I could make it 100% safe. I had all the tools I'd ever need, except that darn sledgehammer. I had a pretty good view from my rooftop sanctuary. I felt relatively safe, so I started moving in and taking inventory of everything I had. And it was a lot. I couldn't make myself 100% safe without the sledgehammer, but I could do almost as well. I started barricading up all the doors and windows, and I started parking cars in front of them. I was no pro criminal. I cut my hand breaking into one of the cars. But I was able to break and enter into a few cars and hotwire them and move them into position. I took the sink from the lower level of the warehouse and moved it upstairs to my new living area. And then I plumbed it to a water catcher I had placed on the roof. We now have water. We are on our way to surviving long term. All this base setup made me hungry, so I thought I would hit up the local diner, but an alarm went off and sent me running. After things settled down, I looped back around and cleared out the looky-loos who had gathered nearby to see what was happening, and resumed my looting. Unfortunately, my trip didn't work out that well, as the food was already rotten. The only thing that I got for my troubles was a nice jump scare. And some delicious salami. I ate that right away. The trip wasn't a total waste, as I picked up a popsicle fridge from the nearby gas station. And I returned to the gas station and stole everything that wasn't nailed down. And even some things that were nailed down, like the fridge. My kitchen was shaping up nicely. Next up, my new house would need a bed and a TV, and I thought the local farmhouse might have what I was looking for. I was also hoping for a sledgehammer, but it was not to be. I carefully checked the area for zombies, had a quick snack, and then found what I was looking for, a smaller TV with a VCR so I could play skill tapes. I grabbed it and head for my van. I decided that even though I'm living in the apocalypse, I deserve nice things. So I took the large, fancy bed. I'm so fancy. I felt pretty good about the day's looting, so I head home to celebrate. Now that my base was starting to take shape, I figured it was about time to head into town. My first stop was the police station. I was hoping to get a bulletproof vest, but all I found were zombies. And cigarettes, which I took. And lots of ammo, which I didn't care for. My next stop was the local Blockbuster. Hit videos, or hit vids. But the locals really didn't want me there. I convinced them of the error of their ways. They decided they were going to steal my car. But I quickly disabused them of that notion. Until disaster, my crowbar broke, and I didn't have a backup weapon on me. I quickly switched over to my hammer and started hammering their faces. The hammer is not an ideal weapon, and I really didn't want to use it. I wanted to save it for carpentry, but I had to do what I had to do, and we made it work. Finally, I made it to the hit vids, and I looted all the skill tapes that I could find. After I looted all the tapes I wanted, on a whim, I headed over to the chiropractor's office, and there I found it. How to use generators. I read it immediately. My salvation was here. I would have power. Yes. My survival wasn't assured, but we were taking a big step in the right direction with this find. I quickly secured my loot and made my getaway. I wasn't letting this loot go to waste. I spent a few days watching all my loot on the TV and reading some books, and then on day 26, I started organizing my storage and breaking down the warehouse and rebuilding my base from the ground up. I installed my bed and my TV, I built a bunch of new storage, and I even built an entire new room up on the roof. This would be my new bedroom. All I had to do was furnish it. Days of building and nights of watching TV passed, and I had done it. I had lasted 30 days. I was safe for now. But survival was not assured.